Hi everyone, it's Nicole here from Sydney English Teacher and from the Successful English Learner by Sydney English Teacher. And I'd like to say a big warm welcome to session number 12 of my weekly writing tasks. Thank you so much for joining me. I do hope that you are really well and that you're having a great week. Are you ready for another writing session? Well, I hope so, because that's why I'm here, and that's why you're here too, I hope. So, before we start, let me give you a quick reminder to go back and watch the past 11 episodes that I've already shared with you, that I've already presented. You know, this is a free writing development course and a fun practice opportunity as well. So definitely do make the most of it, please. It's also a great way for you to stay motivated and to really make sure that you are writing something regularly. So thanks for joining me. Let's stop talking, Nicole, and talk about what we're doing this week. So, what's the plan for today? Well, I'm going to give you a quick recap, a review of last week's writing task, last week's writing topic, and then I'll give you some writing tips and some practical feedback about the writing tasks I've seen from last week. And then we're going to move on to this week's topic, and I'll give you some ideas for how you can plan and write this week's writing task. How does that sound? Good? Okay, so let's focus on last week's writing task first on session 11. Did you watch it? Did you do the writing task? I hope so. If you haven't yet, then please go back to watch session 11 and to do the writing task for session 11. But not now, okay? Do it later. Now we're on session 12. So it's well worth your time, especially if your goal this year is to develop your writing skills. So definitely join me now, but also go back and join me for the previous session from last week and the weeks before that too. Okay, so what was last week's writing topic? Well, I asked you to focus on something that you have recently bought. That's right. Something you have recently bought. It can be anything at all, you know. It can be a car, an item of clothing, a book, a house, shoes, some furniture, even a computer. It doesn't matter. But focus on something you've recently bought. And the aim was for last week's writing task for you to describe this item in detail, to tell us about it, and to help us, the reader, easily picture an image of this item in our minds, thanks to your great description. Okay, so tell us in detail about something you've recently bought, and your great description will allow the reader to picture that item really clearly in their head. I had some focus questions to help you plan this writing and complete this writing task. You can see them here on the screen. They were: what exactly did you buy? Why did you buy it? How does owning it make you feel? Would you buy it again? And would you recommend it to others? And of course, as every week, I asked you to put pen to paper to put your ideas on paper and to really plan a little before you started writing. Because the planning stage, as I say every week, is almost even more important than the writing stage. Never forget that, okay? So if you haven't done this particular writing task yet, please go back and do so, but not now, because I'm about to give you some feedback about the writing from last week that I've seen. I'm sure this will really help you with your own writing as well for this week and for the previous weeks. Are you ready? So, my first piece of feedback from the writing I've seen so far, and I've said this before, but if you give description, don't just write a long list of adjectives, okay? That is not how you describe something. And it's really difficult for the reader to actually understand what you're saying and to stay motivated to continue reading. So instead, focus on different parts. If you want to give description, focus on different parts. Focus on what it looks like, on what it does. Yeah, what it looks like, what it does, maybe how it makes you feel, maybe even why you need it. And then describe each of these areas separately. You know, give description about each of these areas separately. And that will be much more effective and much easier for you to write and for the reader, of course, to read and understand. So don't just write a long list of adjectives, okay? Feedback number 2 from last week. Did you know that you can actually describe verbs too? Yeah, it's true. Adjectives describe nouns, give more information about nouns, but adverbs describe verbs. They add to verbs. They give more information about verbs. So for description, how about you try to use adverbs as well, not just adjectives? This is a really powerful tool, and it makes your writing much, much more advanced. So remember that verbs say how something happens. You know, I went to the concert happily. How did I go? Happily. I completed the exam easily. How did you complete it? Easily. Or I ate my dinner quickly. How did you eat it? Quickly. So there you go. Okay, use more adverbs. Feedback number 3 from last week. Don't simply copy sentences from other people because you like them or you think they look good. Okay? Everyone has their own writing style. And if you copy someone else's writing, if you put their sentence in the middle of your own writing, it is completely obvious to everyone who reads it. It stands out because it's different to what has been written both before and after. Yes, you can't trick us. So even though you may like a particular sentence or you feel you'd like to write like that too, don't copy it, okay? Stick to your own style, you know? With more writing, with more practice, you will be more confident, of course, and you'll be able to write on your own. You'll be able to develop your own writing style. You'll develop your own writing ability. So don't forget that. Don't copy, okay? So that's the feedback I have for you about the writing that I've actually seen from last week's session. Okay, I'm sure there's a lot more feedback I could give, but that is just from the writing tasks that my students shared with me. I hope you found it helpful. Um, Now it's time to move on to this week's task. Are you ready to find out the topic for writing task 12? Well, the topic I have chosen for this week is public transport. I'd like you to think about public transport in your country, any type at all. You know, it could be a bus, train, tram, boat, any item of transport designed for the public. And I'd like you to describe your experience using it. Maybe you use it every day. Maybe you don't use it often, just now and again. Or maybe you've only ever used it once or twice. It doesn't really matter. Think about the experience that you had and write about it. Of course, first, take a few notes to help you. Gather your ideas first to help you write. And here I have some questions to help you with this planning process. So, how do you feel about this form of transport in your country? Is it worth taking? Is it cheap or expensive? Is it slow, fast, comfortable, uncomfortable? And would you recommend it to other people? Good questions, huh? Think about them and take some notes. Now, the next question: how long should this writing task be? Well, I think you should aim for about 1 to 1.5 pages this week, because I'm sure you have a lot of things to share about public transport in your country. There's lots to write about. So 1.5 pages. You could write even more if you'd like, but not less than 1 page. Okay. And if you'd like an extra challenge, I'd like you to try and include these words in your writing task this week. We have the verb commute, we have the adjective overcrowded, and we have the noun congestion. So include them in your writing as well if you'd like that extra little challenge. So, another quick reminder: don't just watch this video. You know, we're almost at the end. You've watched about 14 minutes. Don't just watch the video. Okay. When we finish this session, actually sit down, get a piece of paper, get a pen, and do the writing task as well. You know, these weekly sessions have been designed to encourage you to write. So please write. You can't improve writing or practice writing by just watching a video and listening to me talk. Okay. So sit down with your pen and paper and start writing. And of course, if you have any questions, ask me. I'm always here to help, as you know, so you're more than welcome to get in touch. Well, that's all for this week. I hope you really enjoyed writing session 12. Thank you for joining me, and I do hope you come back again next week, because we've got an even greater topic waiting for you for session 13. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and enjoy writing. Bye.